Hey guys, so if you've ever recorded bass drum and mixed it for rock music or metal music, there's probably a good chance that you've used an 1176 style compressor. It's actually, pretty famous compressor made by Universal Audio, and there's all sorts of clones on the market for hardware versions and different software emulations by Universal Audio themselves and by Waves. But, especially if you're on a budget, there's probably a chance that you've only ever used the software version. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to let you hear some of the differences between a software version and a hardware version. So before we get to the samples, let's talk a little bit about the setup I have for the bass drum. I've actually gone into depth on this setup before in a different video, and I'll include a link for that in the description. But real quick, inside the bass drum, mounted pretty close to the kickside head, is an AKG D. Right inside of the resonant side head is a Beyerdynamic Opus 99. Both of these mics are going to be going through an API preamp. They're not going to be going through any EQ or any compression before they go into the DAW. Once in the DAW, I'm going to be duplicating those two bass drum tracks. And on those duplicated tracks, I'm going to be adding in the plugins. So I'm going to be using the Universal Audio version. So that's the UAD version of the plugins. And this is going to be the 1176 LN legacy version of the plugin. Additionally, I'm going to effectively reamp. I'm not actually going to send the signal back to high Z, but I'm going to effectively reamp the original raw signal through my hardware 1176 compressor. This is an 1176 LN, so it's going to be the same style 1176 that the plugin is made from. And this is from the right side of what would be called a 6176 channel strip that Universal Audio makes. To help keep things consistent for both the plugin and the hardware, I'm going to use similar settings. So I'm going to use the release and the attack are going to just be right up the middle. And the compression ratio is going to be 4:1. And I'm going to, try to go for around maybe 7 dB of reduction when I do the reamping. And then based on what I actually get for the reamping value for dB reduction, I'll set the plugin to do the same amount of reduction. Once everything's set up, you'll hear 3 versions of all the performances. The raw bass drum without any compression, then the bass drum with the plugin version, the UAD version, and then the hardware version. And then there'll be a few different samples, and so we'll just cycle through those for each sample. So have you ever come across any big differences between software and hardware versions of EQs, compressors, preamp emulators, anything of that sort? If so, let me know in the comments below because I'd love to hear about it. And if you'd like to see more videos about recording drums and other things like that, then don't forget to subscribe.